The best of money matters. Right Business.
Welcome to this month's The Peak Special on The Right Business. I'm Hongbin Jeong. Today, we're spotlighting a story that's less about conventional tech glamour and more about tackling one of the biggest challenges of our time, climate change, through business that is both purposeful and profitable. Wavemaker Impact, led by Marie Cheong, has pioneered the 100 by 100 approach, backing founders and ventures that aim to abate 100 million tons of carbon while building $100 million in revenue businesses. Through her model, Marie is proving that climate action doesn't have to come at the expense of commercial success, and that scaling impact requires not just innovation, but discipline, incentives, and relentless focus on execution. And to share more about her story, the 100 by 100 approach, and what it tells us about climate tech and entrepreneurship in Southeast Asia, joining us today is Zat, editor-in-chief of The Peak Singapore. Hi, Zat. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, Zat, you featured Marie Cheong and her 100 by 100 approach at Wavemaker Impact, which aims to back founders who, rethink what climate action can deliver both in scale and in impact. So tell us, more about Marie and what drew you to explore her story.
So what struck me the most, about Marie is how clear she is when she talks about climate and investing. There's no overcomplication, and she doesn't waste a lot of time dressing them up either. One of the first things that she said to me was investing in impact means lower returns. But she said it to knock the idea down, not to agree with it. And I feel like for me, that kind of clarity is quite rare. As a founding partner at Wavemaker Impact, she's right in the middle of profit, purpose, and climate, and she refuses to pick just one. I think that's what drew me in.
What do you think sets the 100 by 100 approach apart then? Not just as a venture strategy, but as a way to fundamentally change the climate tech landscape here in Southeast Asia. What's the heart of what she's trying to achieve with this approach?
All right. So the 100 times 100 approach is really simple, but at its core, it's a very bold proposition. So every company that Wavemaker Impact backs needs to be able to cut 100 million tons of carbon and also hit $100 million in revenue. It's not either or. So what is smart is how Marie frames it, right? She often talks about Grab, for instance. Grab didn't invent cars, but it just created the right incentives for people to use them differently. So Wavemaker is applying that same idea to climate. Build things people actually want to use, and build them in a way that's commercially viable. And it doesn't get more simple than that.
Okay. You've described Wavemaker Impact not just as a venture fund, but as a model that combines commercial discipline with climate ambition. How does Marie then balance the rigor of building profitable businesses with the ambition of driving large-scale climate impact?
So the thing is, that Marie doesn't see it as a balance in the traditional sense of the word, because for her, the two are quite inseparable. If something isn't profitable, it can't scale, right? And if it can't scale, it won't cut emissions in any meaningful way. A good example is Arisan, which is one of their companies. So they sell plug-and-play solar at 80% cheaper than conventional systems, while still making healthy margins and making it easy for households to adopt solar. So that's the climate impact and business rigor working hand in hand.
Okay. Well, Marie looks like often challenges the common misconception that impact investing means compromising on profit. So what was Marie's perspective on this common misconception, and how does she challenge that idea in practice?
So she calls this a myth. It's plain and simple that impact investing means compromising on profit. So for her, it's a myth, plain and simple. She hears it all the time, and quite frankly, I can tell that she's quite tired of it. And her way of pushing back is through results. So when you look at companies like Rise or Agros, they're cutting emissions in huge ways and pulling in serious investors like Temasek and Breakthrough Energy. She wants to show that impact investing can deliver both, which is big environmental outcomes and strong financial returns.
Well, then what stood out to you about how Marie approaches, scaling these ventures? And how does she make sure they're not just impactful, but financially sustainable?
So I suppose the reason why, what stood out for me, right, is that she has this obsession with incentives. So she knows technology alone doesn't move the needle. People need a good reason to adopt it. So the ventures that she backs at Wavemaker Impact always think about the customer first. So is it cheaper? Is it easier? Is it more profitable? So that's how she ensures that these companies can both scale and sustain themselves. So whether it's biochar machines or seaweed-based fertilizers, the logic is always the same. She needs to make it make sense for people to switch.
Okay. I mean, she also looks like she's candid about the challenges in venture capital, from bias in funding to the long-term nature of building impactful companies. So how did she describe navigating these challenges as a founder and a leader? And what does that tell you about her style and values as a business leader, which reflects on her business?
So in the time that I spent with Marie for the Power List, she's very open about describing and navigating the challenges in VC. She talks about the biases that women founders still face, and the fact that funding often depends on who you know rather than what you've built, and how building at this scale is slow and it's messy. So what that says for me, what that says about her is that she leads with honesty and patience. And she's not out to chase quick wins or flashy headlines. She's building in a way that reflects her personal values, which is disciplined, value-driven, and willing to put in the hard work.
Right. Well, then, Zot, from your perspective here, what makes Wavemaker Impact and Marie's approach the kind of model that could reshape how we think about climate tech and entrepreneurship in the region?
Okay, so the approach, right, gives me a good sense of what it looks like when there is a mix of bold ambition and practicality. A lot of times, climate solutions either get dismissed or as charity, or often built around tech that's 20 years away from being ready. And what Marie does is reject both, right? She insists that half the emissions we need to cut can already be cut with the technology we have today. And what's missing is the will and the right commercial models. So her model of bringing in experienced founders, right? Founders who have exited, or CEOs who are looking for new challenges, right? This method of bringing in experienced founders, designing smart incentives, and insisting on both profit and impact, she's actually showing Southeast Asia a very different playbook for climate entrepreneurship.
Well, thank you so much, Zot, for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Zot, Editor-in-Chief at The Peak Singapore. This has been The Right Business with me, Hongbin Jeong.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.